All right, welcome to this explainer. You know, if you've ever felt like making money is just this hidden secret or maybe just random luck, well, we're going to completely flip that script today. We are going to break down the actual mechanical steps of how value turns into income and explore the highly logical system that makes it all happen.
We've got to start with a seriously frustrating mystery. Why is it that immense effort, and I mean incredible talent, so often completely fails to turn into financial success? I mean, we all know someone, right? Someone who is incredibly skilled, works day and night, but still constantly struggles financially. So if you're really good at something, why doesn't the money just automatically appear?
To figure this out, we're diving straight into a fantastic crash course document called Making Money Clearly. What's great about this is it literally strips away all the magic and replaces that whole money-making mystery with pure, understandable logic.
The source actually anchors everything on one absolutely crucial rule. Money flows toward value, trust, and demand. You see, money isn't valuable just because it's shiny paper or numbers on a screen. At its core, money is really just a shared signal. It's a signal we use to move recognized value. Think about a massive, busy shipping port. Ships don't just arrive to sit there, right? They're there to move goods through a system. Money works the exact same way. It is literally the language that value uses to travel from one person to another. So let's jump straight into Section 1, the true nature of money.
Now, a really common trap here is confusing mere motion with actual usefulness. Imagine pouring water into a leaking bucket all day. Sure, it's exhausting, and you'll definitely break a sweat, but you haven't actually improved the system, have you? Fixing the actual leak, now that is a solved problem. And here's the kicker. The world pays for solved problems, not just busy activity. Think about a doctor calming a patient or a tailor turning plain cloth into clothes you actually want to wear. They create a real benefit first. Money usually responds to those fixed leaks, whether we're talking about leaks in time, comfort, or clarity.
And that brings us right to the next vital layer, which is trust. Picture this. You've got two bottles of water in front of you. One is a trusted sealed brand, and the other is just this unsealed, kind of suspicious-looking bottle. Even if both have the exact same liquid inside, you are going to choose the trusted brand every single time. Why? Well, because trust reduces uncertainty. And when uncertainty drops, money moves so much more easily. Value isn't just about what's being promised. It's about whether that promise actually feels believable to the person buying it.
Moving right along to Section 2, how value becomes income.
Okay, so there is often a massive disconnect between you and the market. You look at yourself and say, hey, I have skill, I put in the effort, I'm available. But the market doesn't really care about that. It's only asking things like, can this help me? Did it create a real result? Can I get this when I actually need it? Income literally only appears when those two completely different perspectives finally align. If you have the skill but the market doesn't see how it helps them, the money just doesn't arrive. It's that simple.
All right, let's break this down even further in Section 3, the money-making chain.
You know, every single payment you ever receive is really just the final confirmation of a chain reaction. It goes exactly like this. First, someone has a problem or a gap. Second, you offer a way to reduce that gap. Third, and this is huge, they have to actually notice your offer. That's visibility. Fourth, they have to believe it's going to help them. That's trust. And finally, step 5, they exchange money for it. It's kind of like a fruit seller at a market, right? The fruit is just sitting there as inventory until a buyer actually decides it's worth the price. The fruit itself doesn't change, but its relationship to the buyer does. If any single link in this 5-step chain is weak, the income slows down or it just stops entirely.
But we have to remember the environment where this chain is actually happening, and that is governed by demand. Demand is literally the pressure that makes value move. The source material gives this fantastic analogy, a fire extinguisher. Now, a fire extinguisher is obviously incredibly valuable, but its value is most obvious and most urgently paid for when there's an actual fire going on. You can be absolutely excellent at something, but if very few people need it right now, you might earn very little. It's not about your merit, it's about urgency. When demand is high, people make decisions faster, and the money just flows more easily.
To really ground this whole idea, the source highlights a local filtered water business in Karachi. It's a perfect example. The clear problem? People need safe drinking water. The trust? Well, they provide consistent, reliable delivery with clean packaging. And as for visibility, the neighbors literally see the service working out in the open every single day. Because all these elements align perfectly, it creates a super healthy system of repeat income. They aren't getting paid just for existing, they're getting paid because they are repeatedly turning usefulness into an exchange, with very little friction.
Which leads us to our final part, Section 4, the value creator mindset.
This is where we need the ultimate paradigm shift. See, an earner's mindset is passive. They're waiting around, constantly asking, how do I get money? But a value creator, they're actively asking, what problem am I solving? Who feels this problem strongly? Do they trust me enough to pay? A salary isn't just some random payment magically given to a value creator. It is hard proof that someone believes their work solves a real, tangible need. When you finally shift to this mindset, you stop just chasing money and you start seeing where value is hidden, creating your own opportunities instead of just waiting for them.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty powerful question. What value can you create, make visible, and connect to a real need? Money doesn't have to be a mystery anymore. As we've seen, it's a completely readable, understandable system. So take a look at your own skills, your work, your life. Stop focusing just on the money itself and start focusing on the value you can bring to others. Build that trust, make the solution visible, and the money will naturally follow the value. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I seriously challenge you to start building your own path from value to payment today.